Cannon crew, load. Clear.
The Battle of Moores Creek Bridge. My name is Keely Turner, and today we are walking on the site of the fourth battle in the American Revolutionary War in North Carolina, my home state. And today marks the 250th anniversary of that battle. And I am living out my dream of being in a somewhat movie set like The Patriot that Mel Gibson did, walking around, and there's so many reenactors. It's so much fun. I even feel like I'm kind of in like Outlander, my favorite TV show right now, here at Moores Creek Battlegrounds. What an eerie feeling. It is said to even be haunted by Scottish Loyalists who lost their lives in the battle. I even heard they couldn't swim and some of them drowned. Anyway, this is the Battle of Moores Creek Bridge.
Good day. Here we are out in the middle of nowhere. We've been told that the Highlanders from Cross Creek are coming down this road. And so we got here yesterday under General Caswell, and we have dug the redoubt, we have placed artillery, and there's a bridge that they have to go over. And what we've done is we've taken off the planks and greased the rails. So let those bloody Highlanders try to get across that. And we decided originally we were going to stand at the bridge, but it's being narrow. They have, we think, about 15,000 Highlanders, and we're about that same number. But we have 3 artillery pieces, and that's what we're going to use to stop these Highlanders. Now, about 40 years ago, the Highlanders fought a battle in Culloden, which is in the island of Great Britain, against the British Army, which had muskets and cannons, and they were carrying broadswords and shields. Needless to say, it did not go very well for the Highlanders. And we don't know exactly what they're going to be carrying weapons, but knowing the Highlanders, they are steeped in tradition, so they probably will attack using broadswords and shields, but we have muskets and artillery. So we are just waiting for them to arrive, and if we can defeat them and capture them, that is going to secure this part of the colonies this early in the war, and hopefully they will go back up to New England, where it's presently happening right now. Washington has the British Army bottled up in Boston, and we're just trying to figure out how to get them unlodged, and maybe they'll leave and won't come back, but that's hopeful thinking on our part. So we're just awaiting the arrival of about 1,500 Highlanders, and we'll see how the day progresses.
The American Revolutionary War started on April 19th, 1775, and ended in September 3rd, 1783. The Moores Creek Battle occurred on February the 27th, 1776, near Wilmington, North Carolina. In early 1776, the British High Command believed that the southern colonies, and especially North Carolina, contained a strong Loyalist population. And I believe they were wrong. They were very wrong. And they thought that they could mobilize these people and crush the rebellion from within the colony. If this battle was successful for the British, they would have a strong foothold in the South. Little did the British know that the people in the South were built on grit and biscuits. I can attest to that. I had one this morning myself, and sweet tea. Back to the context points. The Loyalist force, the Loyalists were primarily Scottish Highlanders, just like Outlander, who had settled in North Carolina. After the failed Jacobite uprising of 1745, honestly, I can't believe that the Scottish Highlanders would fight for the stinking British. And they thought that the Patriots left the battle site. They thought they left the bridge, but little did they know they didn't. Anyway, there's an estimated to have been 1,200 to 1,600 men out here in the woods getting ready to come over the bridge. However, they were poorly armed, many carrying broadswords instead of muskets. They thought that the Patriots were not here, and they didn't have artillery really at all that much, but the Patriots were hiding in the dark on the field near the bridge. The Patriots secretly took out planks of the bridge, and the British had no idea, so they saw this and they were like, I'm gonna climb on the planks that were still left behind. Even the planks were oiled down with oil. The Patriots were smart guys. And then if they did cross the bridge and get over to the other side, they had artillery. They were prepared. And the British, the Loyalists, they did not see it coming whatsoever. They didn't even know they were still here. They thought they had left the site. Wow, they were ambushed. And 50, maybe 60 people died, and then the rest were captured.
Give fire. Search vent. Advance worm. Search piece. 10 vent. Advance sponge. Sponge piece. Weapon secure. I'm Jonathan Holland. I'm with the Kingsbury, North Carolina Independent Artillery. This is our first engagement during the War of American Independence 250 years ago. This afternoon we're manning a light swivel gun. Swivel gun because it is on a swiveling axis. It can traverse the front of the fortifications here. These light cannon pieces were anti-personnel devices. Basically, you can think of this as a large shot-off shotgun. Had an effective range of approximately 200 yards, but our primary engagement range is about 100 yards, which is about approximately how far we are from the bridge here today at Moores Creek Bridge. Swivel gun would have been used to sweep the approaches to the front of the fortification to stop the Highlander charge that day 250 years ago. It's an anti-personnel device. It's loaded by a cannon crew of 4, which you just happen to see in action today. It can be loaded by 2 or 3 people in need, but a regular crew would be approximately 4 individuals.
with a Type 2 pattern brown Bess flintlock smoothbore musket. And it's basically the ammunition, it was made in a paper tube that had the musket ball and about 95 grains of powder. And when loading this musket, you had to take the cartridge, tear the paper cartridge, pour a little bit of powder in the pan, which had a little indentation, and of course there's okay. And there's of course a little hole right here that goes into the barrel. So some powder is placed in the pan. You have to shut the pan so you don't spill it. You flip the musket around, take the rest of your powder and your musket ball, put in the barrel. You have to withdraw a rammer to ram the ammunition all the way down to the breech. And then of course the most important thing is you have to replace the rammer, because if you ever lost your rammer, then you can only fire one time and that's it. Then of course always come to the shoulder, but essentially when it's time to fire, they will have us present. At that time you take the flint, of course you go to full cock. They'll have you present, and then when you fire, what happens is, if you can see, there's a spark. When the flint hits this pan, there's a spark that goes down to where the powder is, sets the powder on fire. That sends a spark into the hole, into the breech, and that's when the powder goes off and your projectile fires. That is, and essentially, you have, of course, to fire, you have to do the same thing every time. You have to bring it back, take your powder, tear your cartridge, put the powder in, close the pan, flip it over, load your ammunition, draw your ramrod. A good infantryman can probably load this musket maybe 3 times a minute. Yeah, a very good one. And of course, you also have to take into consideration while you're firing, you're being fired upon. Now, the accuracy of these, since they're smoothbore, is about 100 yards, because it's basically like shooting a shotgun. And once the round leaves, it'll tumble, and that's why you have a lot of times you have the infantry packed tight, so that basically you're getting the shotgun effect of multiple musket balls going down range. But essentially, especially if you look at the Napoleonic tactics later on, you fired your musket, you had your bayonet fixed, and this, of course, is the bayonet is triangular in shape, so it makes a nasty wound. And of course, this is for close order. And of course, when they're firing it, usually they have their bayonets attached, so you can imagine gunpowder, all kinds of debris up and down this blade. So if you get punctured by the bayonet, it's going to leave a very nasty wound. Because basically this makes an open puncture that is hard to close, whereas the modern military bayonets are blade. So that you can, but a triangular puncture wound, it is very hard to close.
So we're with the Loyalist forces, the forces supporting the Crown here at Moores Creek Bridge today. We're here because, for different reasons, right? We have Scottish Highlanders, we have regulators from the backcountry, all that have joined together here to try to get to the coast, because Governor Martin has told us that's where he's going to meet us. We've also heard that there are reinforcements coming from Ireland, British regular soldiers that we're going to meet with. So our plan is to get everyone together, we're going to march down there, they're going to help arm us, and then we're going to retake North Carolina for the Crown. So we have all these things to prepare for war here, right? We need things like maps. That's a map of eastern North Carolina that we're going to be using to help us navigate, right? And right now what we're doing is actually trying to circumvent where we know Patriot forces are to get to the coast where those ships are going to come in. Different drill manuals, because we're learning the way of the soldier, right? We're all just regular men, farmers, things like that. And we're going to be using these drill manuals to learn the military might that we're going to need, you know, once those British soldiers come to help us. And then the supplies for war. So we're going to be preparing cartridges. We're going to be preparing for battle. The Highlanders, you know, a lot of them are armed with swords and things like that, but we actually don't have enough weapons for everyone right now. So we're also collecting weapons. You can see some of us are only armed with sticks, some of us are drilling, training for the first time. Some of us have old military surplus, but we're just taking these steps to arm ourselves, melting down lead to make musket balls, gathering black powder supplies to hopefully be ready for when we meet the enemy. But our goal is not to meet the enemy, right? Because we're not ready. We don't have enough, we don't have reinforcements, we don't have enough supplies, we don't have enough weapons. So what we're hoping to do is do a little bit of a counter march here. We're gonna kind of get around, we've heard some Patriot forces might be in our way, but we're gonna try to get around them and make it all the way down to the coast. So that's the plan.
Some of the Scottish Loyalists didn't know how to swim and they fell into the water, and it doesn't look that deep, but it's 15 feet deep, and these guys could not swim. They didn't know how to swim, and some of them didn't make it. If you look behind me, this water is pitch black. I've honestly never seen water so pitch black in my life. It's really eerie over here, and to see all the swampy trees in the water, it's just unreal. But yeah, this is the site, the fourth battle of the American Revolutionary War, and the Patriots defeated the Loyalists. Thank God.
Even though the Patriots are not here with us today, the dedication of these reenactors helps bring their story to life. We are reminded that they once stood and fought on this very ground, and for that I am deeply grateful. Thank you to all our reenactor friends for helping us tell the story of the Battle of Moores Creek Bridge, and thank you for joining me as we explored the battlegrounds. Until next time.